And welcome back. We are now going to get started with creating and animating a full character. And in order to do that, what we want to do to start off is start with a symbol to kind of help us create the framework we're going to use for that character. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and imported this ninja here, and I'm going to go ahead and convert him over to a symbol. So let's just go ahead and convert to symbol. Go ahead and make sure he's just a graphic because that's perfectly fine. We don't need a button. And once he's converted, I'm going to rename my layer here to Ninja, just so I know that is what that is. And we can double click that to go inside of that Ninja element. And you can see we are here because we look at our envelope. It says scene 1 and then it says Ninja. So we are inside of that symbol that we just created. And I'm going to click off of him right now. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm over here to my tools. And I want to go ahead and grab the oval tool because I'm going to use that to create this character here. And what we want to do is try to make as close as a replication as we can. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. But again, this is going to be used kind of as a reference for us as we move into this. Now, if I want this exact same tone, for example, I want this color here, I can use my eyedrop tool to grab that color. And you'll see it'll set the color there for me. And it will match that. If I switch back to my oval tool, we have that same color here in our fill. Now, before I actually start drawing the shape in here, I want to make sure I segment out each of the individual components of this character into their own layers. So this layer right here is just the base layer where this ninja lives on. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a new layer. And let's just go ahead and call this head, because I'm going to start by drawing the head of the ninja. And once that's in place, we can then go ahead and draw in that color. So I'm just going to click and draw kind of a oval shape, or maybe something a little more circular, to represent the ninja's head. And then we can switch to our line tool to go ahead and create some lines here that are going to help separate to create his mask. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw some lines across this. Alright, now I have the lines here. You can start seeing a shape coming in here with our different pieces. We can actually use our selection tool here just to grab these pieces of the line that are sticking outside of the circle. And just deleting those off because we don't want that to be existing more than where the other piece is. Additionally, if I want to color this inside sector here, if I grab my eyedropper tool, I can grab that tone from my reference image. And then I should be able to come in here and just fill in that small sector right here so that way I have kind of a matching tone. Now, one thing we'll notice is that currently this design is very linear. So we could, of course, come in here and add some curvature to this. So I can just click and bend to add this a little bit, maybe help show some different pieces of this so it doesn't look quite so flat. And once I've done that, you can see one of the nice things is because it's a fill already in there with those colors, I don't have to come and recolor that. But when I move to using my eyes and I start filling that in, I have to make sure I'm careful with these. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose white for the base of the eye. And when I draw my eye in, you'll notice I do have a stroke around this. So if I wanted this eye to not have a stroke, if I wanted this to maybe be just a solid white color, just remember to go ahead and take your stroke and shut that off. And so now when I draw that eye, you'll see I have a kind of more solid color. And then if I want to add some color to the eye, then of course all I need to do is choose what color I want that to be. If I want something maybe a little bit more black, just kind of match my reference image, I of course can go ahead and do that. I can trace that black line in there. And now we have our eyeball in here. And now if I want to, if you notice this one has some emotion going on here with the eyebrows, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a rectangle tool. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw a rectangle in here. Using my free transform tool, I can then grab this object and I can then very carefully, if I zoom in a little bit here, come in here and rotate this so that it looks like we're conveying more emotion here with this character. Now the one thing is, because I did use this rectangle and this is also a shape, you see that we now have this zone that's kind of open here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my fill tool, use my eyedropper to grab the color of the skin. Oh, I accidentally filled that rectangle, so let's just back that up with the Control Z. We need to first click off of that rectangle and click on the region of the face. And now we can go ahead and make sure we have that color, grab our paint bucket tool, and we can fill in that zone up top. So now when I click off, we have an eyebrow here, we have our eye, and of course we can add more color in this if we want, and we have our basic head shape. Now, one thing you will notice that in my shape versus this one is that this ninja right here has some shadow cast on him, and this one currently does not. So I'm going to zoom back in here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my line tool and just draw a line down his face. And then using my selection tool, I'm just going to go ahead and bend this a little bit to kind of give it some depth here, to add, this might be the edge of his face or a mask or whatever. And of course you can bend these other shapes if you want to give it some more dimension. You can kind of set up a curve like we do here. However you want to bend this is up to you. And I'm just going to go ahead and just add a little bit of curvature here, because again, I want this to kind of follow more of the natural contour of his face. And once that's done, I'm just slide this over a little bit by zooming out. And I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool and I want to grab, for example, the darker region of skin here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Switch back to my paint bucket tool. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in this area that's over here of the skin. And you will see how it has now shadowed that. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool, click the dark region of my reference image, and go ahead and fill in these two darker regions here to help convey that sense of shadow. And then if I want to get rid of this line, all I need to do is take my selection tool, click on the line, and then tap the delete key on my keyboard, and you will see that it removes that line, but it leaves us with that nice defined shadow here. I can do similar things for the rest of the face if I wanted to put a little bit of shadow across the top of his face. Maybe the mask is coming down, I could do similar things here, but this is a nice good start here. Now, of course, this face is pretty round, so maybe I want to define his chin just a little bit more, so I can come in here and just bend this just a little bit if I want to kind of give some more definition to how this face might actually appear. So again, you can kind of play around with this to kind of get the face that you want, but this is going to be the start of our ninja character, and we are going to use this to act as the template here for the rest of our design moving forward.